Oh my god, this is so awesome! I wanted to show you something I invented here. Now, I've made videos before about the ABR800. How it is a 3-platform modular ring flash. Incredibly useful. They're 2 half-moon xenon tubes. And over here, let me show you something else. You can use it as the most incredible portrait strobe on the face of the earth. No questions asked, period. Incredibly handy. Portable. Of course, I'm using a Vagabond Mini power unit here, which you can get, depending on the output, you can get an enormous amount of life on. Now with, of course, the portable battery pack like this, you can't use the modeling lights. You can, but it'll just drain the battery too quick. So, you can use it as a ring flash. You can use it with the optional moon unit, which is an attachment for the ABR800. I think it's at $59. It's flippable too between gold and silver, so you could invert it however you want. And of course you could use it as a regular studio strobe. Let me get this out of the way. Too much crap back here. You can mount it right here on a light stand and use it as a regular studio strobe. And it does come with a little unit for attaching an umbrella reflector to it that goes right through the middle of the moon unit, so you can use it as a regular studio strobe. The only issue I had, and I talked to the company, Alien Bees, this is units made entirely in the United States, is that I told them, since the minimum output is 10 watt seconds, that this would make the most incredible macro flash unit, period. I mean, it'll blow the balls off of everything else out there if they could crank the power down. Minimum power on this is 10 watt seconds of power. Right now I'm using a Nikon D750 and standard 100mm Takina macro. Doesn't matter if it's a 150, it works with a 60. They said they'd have to actually redesign the unit's capacitors to lower the output, and of course that's understandable. The unit already serves as a perfect ring flash for studio, serves as a perfect light stand studio strobe, and with the moon unit it's absolutely incredible. Well, I kept thinking in terms of neutral density filters, which was one possibility. Neutral density filters on the lens is not a good idea. Obviously adding glass to the front of the lens, never a good idea. That was a possibility. I thought, you know, got to keep it simple. Simplicity is divinity. What could I do? Here you can see I have attached to the middle. All it is 2 sheets of translucent tracing paper. Okay, tracing paper. It's translucent, kind of like these studio lights here. And you can actually use fabric like these as well, but I went with tracing paper, and I laminated them in my laminating machine, which of course is one of the most useful devices in the world. But you can buy a pack of tracing paper and have the sheets laminated down at Office Depot, Office Max for like, I don't know, $1, $1.50. So I have 2 layers of these, and I could stick in an additional layer if I wanted to drop my f-stop down. Now running right now at ISO 200 at f8, which is perfect, right in the middle. The more the merrier on macro photography. Usually working upward of F11, F16, sometimes max, because we know in a macro photography every f-stop counts as far as getting depth of field. It's already shallow enough. The output is absolutely incredible. Incredible. Now if I wanted to crank this up to ISO 800, I had moving insects. You know, I still have a workable range, but right now I'm operating on ISO 200, so I have a perfect workable ISO range now, perfect workable macro f-stop range, and this is removable in 2 seconds. All I do is I have these 2 tubes of translucent paper, which are laminated, taped to the back end of the inside of my ABR800. Nothing is holding it here, shooting right through here. This isn't an issue. All the macro shots are cropped anyway, but if I were to shoot, say, you know, about 3 feet plus away, which you're not doing a macro work anyway, that if the case were to be that you were to do that, you have about 5% vignetting, because the lens is zoomed out. Even though it's a macro lens, you're actually able to see the translucent tube. so that if I'm working at 2 feet plus, there's very minuscule translucent tube vignetting that I could crop out anyway. But if I'm working at the 2 feet or closer, which of course is where basically 99% of macro work is anyway, my God, the output is unbelievable. Now this unit is absolutely quintessentially perfect. I can actually call this, now, obviously I can crank down the power on the Einstein studio strobes down here to 2.5 watt seconds, but that's not a ring flash, and it's not portable, and I can't hand hold it like the lightweight ABR800. So now I can use this thing as a studio strobe, most incredible portraiture ring flash unit. I can use it with the moon unit over here, which several of you picked up. But now, this is the most incredible macro everything Nikon makes, okay, is dwarfed. And I've used them all. You know I've used them all. Everything out there that exists currently that Nikon has, or any of the expensive macro flash units have, as far as illumination, is dwarfed by this $1 add-on for the ABR800. I mean, it is literally. I'm gonna get in as close as I can get. Oh my God. Oh my God. Absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. That was 1/250th of a second, f/14. Of course, with the studio strobe like this, everything is in manual mode. But since you got consistent light output, it doesn't matter anyway. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful working ISO, working apertures for macro work, because obviously you may or may not know depth of field of macro, even up at f11, is very narrow. So, awesome. Now this is the most useful studio strobe out there now. Studio strobe, macro strobe, the best macro strobe I have ever used. I can't even tell you how many different macro, including that really elaborate fiber optic one that I made, which is really damn good. Very elaborate. Definitely the best macro strobe I've ever used, and I've used a damn lot of them. A lot of them. So now this is the perfect everything unit. And it's not that expensive. I can't remember what the current cost on the ABR800. It's made by Pulsey Buff. No, they're not giving me anything. I came up with this idea on my own because I talked to the technicians at Pulsey Buff, and I said, well, how can we crank this down for use of macro? He said, well, we've had that question asked a few times, and he said we'd have to redesign the capacitors because the minimum output was just too much overkill. Okay, you can crank your camera down to ISO 100 and your aperture all the way up to f22 or whatever the case may be. 10 watt seconds is just too much. I mean, you're down here at 10 watt seconds. You're at ISO 100 at f22 at 10 watt seconds output. It was just overkill. And now everything is perfect workable range, and this is the best frigging macro portable. Now, of course, you're going to have the Vagabond unit like this. Doesn't come with a shoulder strap. I just used a rifle shotgun strap for this. But look at that. So those of you now that own the Alien Bees ABR800 can have, let me turn the unit off. This is simplicity. We're talking about a $1 addition to your Alien Bees. It actually has to be out this far. I determined this, unless you're using like a 60mm macro, which it could be shorter than that, but not really, because your reflector dish is sticking out. And here's the other thing I forgot to mention, because I get distracted sometimes. I'm always thinking 1,000 things at once. You turn your lock off, and you bring the reflector unit off, like this, and lock it back in so your diffuser doesn't come off. Now you can actually work up at ISO 800 if you need to, and a more shallow depth of field on your macro work, so you're not having the reflected light over here being bumped back in. So now you actually have a higher working distance, but you're still going to have to use my little invention here, this little double translucent tube. You could add a third layer if you want. And if you wanted the specific ring lighting with this, which is slightly different with this off than it is on, but since this is meant to be used as a ring flash for portraiture, so slightly different light, but you could add a third translucent tube. Anyway, oops, there we go. This was coming off there when I unlocked it. So there we go. There's my little mod. I don't know if I need to explain it. We're talking about 2 translucent pieces of tracing paper you can get at your drawing store, and they're just laminated. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad that I came up with this invention because it kicks ass. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you can send me a buck or two because this idea is awesome, or you can tell me to go jump off a cliff, although I don't think this time I deserve it because this really is awesome. And now the most awesome strobe unit that exists, that I absolutely love with all my heart, can be used as the most awesome macro ring light strobe that's out there. Incredible. Awesome. Love it. Thanks. Catch you later.